because you've always been honest, even when you were fighting, you were honest about kind of who you think you'd beat and who was too big for you, and etc. etc. I asked you about Andy Ruiz. I said, do you think now, if you went into like a 4-month camp or 3-month camp, would you beat Andy Ruiz? And I think you said to me, if it went within the first kind of 7-8 rounds, yes. After that, probably not.
Yeah, I think he'd catch up with me, his big ass, and get me in the end. But I would make an absolute fucking fool of someone like him for 8 rounds.
Even now?
Yeah. Yeah. He feet's better than this. Simple as that. He feet's better than this. So, there's very few with better feet than me.
Those are the words of Tony Bellew as he believes that he would make an absolute fool out of Andy Ruiz for 8 rounds. Okay, let me counterpunch. He said his big ass would get me after that, though, to be fair. You got to give it to Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew has always been 100% honest about what he says. He just tells it how it is. Why lie? Why front? Why cap? Why? And someone like Andy Ruiz, it's funny how he mentioned Andy, you know, and I once did a side-by-side comparison between these two guys, and they kind of similar looking, you know, but I think that Tony Bellew could, based off his feet, his, not necessarily his hand speed, because Andy has fast hands as well, just as fast, but it's the footwork. The footwork of Tony Bellew would give someone like Andy Ruiz fits, okay? How do I know that? Look what Joshua did to him. Joshua had Andy Ruiz frustrated, right? And he didn't have an answer for any of it. Now, for him thinking, how would he do that after 9? I think, based off Tony Bellew, that he's admitted, because he's an honest dude. He's like, hey, I hate to train. I absolutely hate to train. So I think because of that, Andy would then get the best of him, because Andy would probably be in better shape. Because Tony, I think he had a problem with stamina. You know, and if you look at the Usyk fight, which I have another video for him talking about Usyk, so stay tuned for that. But at the end of the day, I always thought someone like Usyk could do that to Andy Ruiz. But Andy Ruiz is a fast fighter, and I'm not convinced, honestly, I'm not convinced that he could cut off the ring on someone like Tony Bellew. Why? Because he hasn't showed us in his last fight. Not saying Chris Arreola was anything like Tony Bellew, but Chris Arreola was a more poised fighter that I've seen in a long time from him. And he showed a lot of things that he's been training and he's been working on, and we've seen it through his performance with Andy Ruiz, okay? And Andy, despite losing all that weight, wasn't able to do what he could do with him. You know, let alone someone like Tony Bellew that has great footwork. He can move well. He can pivot. He can dodge. He can slip. Okay? He can counter. He can do a lot of things in there with someone like Andy Ruiz. The only problem is him trying to get too greedy, or him trying to do too much, you know, at one time. And I think that's when Andy would probably catch him. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Tony Bellew saying that he would absolutely make a fool out of Andy Ruiz for 8 rounds. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.